Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to LinkedIn Tuesdays. I'm very glad you're with us today. It is June 7th, 2022. For those on Zoom, please, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please just open up the chat box, put your questions there. For those watching on Facebook, thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions, just put them in the comment field. We are monitoring both the feeds. Also, for those people on Zoom, if you'd like to network with each other, great way to do that. Be sure to put in your personal information in the Zoom chat window so that you can chat with everybody, so you can connect with other people who are on the call today. Please note this event is being recorded. It's currently live on Facebook. The recording will be on the Career DFW Facebook page and the Career USA YouTube channel for others to view in the future. By participating in this event, you give consent for your name and picture to appear. Please note that any comments you put in the Zoom chat window will not appear in the recording. Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jeff Morris. Back in 2008, I started a website called careerdfw.org, a website to help those who are unemployed in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. In 2012, I started a second website, careerusa.org, to help those around the United States. I have written a book called What I've Learned About Your Job Search You May Not Know. It is available on Amazon. Since 2007, I've been facilitating and leading the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. The group's been around since the late 1990s. I took it over in 2007, and I'll tell you about our upcoming program we have this Friday at the very end of the session. And since 2017, I've been a member of the practice interview team, also known as the PIT crew. You got to remember, LinkedIn or your resume will not get you a job, but it will get you a phone call. How well you practice your interviewing skills is what's going to get you your next job. So if you want to get more information, just reach out to dallaspitcrew.com and you get all the information you need, how you can sign up for a free practice interview. Well, we have 4 outstanding speakers who talk about LinkedIn. They rotate through on a monthly basis. A couple of them are career consultants, one's a marketing leader, and one's a retained search consultant. So today our speaker is Locke Alderson, career consultant, recruiting consultant. He'll tell you more about his background in just a second. But today's topic is how to use LinkedIn for job hunting, strategies to get results. So Locke, thank you for being with us, and it's all yours. You're muted. Locke, you're muted.
Have you shared your screen so I can?
Yeah, you should be able to share screen.
Okay, we're ready to go. I think we've solved the technical problems today. Well, thanks, Jeff, for having me today. It's always a pleasure to come and to share with people about how we're doing this and what it's all about. I've been a job hunter at least 5 or 6 times in my career. I've been a search consultant, retained recruiter. I've also been a headhunter and had my own firm for 12 years. And I've been a corporate recruiter for a number of years. So I've had a little bit of background from taking a look at looking for a job from a number of different perspectives, hiring people and finding people, as well as career consulting, which I started out in 2013 with Mullen. I've been working as a volunteering since 2001 with a guy named Rex Stout, who's on the call today up at Career Crossroads, a career transition workshop at Crossroads Bible Church. And then Mullen approached me in 2013 about doing a 90-day contract, which extended for 4 years and 90 days before he sold out to Lee Heck Harrison, and was with them for a couple of years before I finally decided to hang it up at the end of December 2019. Been a LinkedIn user for a number of years. Again, I think I started in about 2004, 2005, something like that. And so what we want to do is take a look at LinkedIn from a job hunting perspective. And actually, to do that, you want to find out why LinkedIn. Well, LinkedIn is the #1 tool that's used by recruiters and hiring managers to identify candidates and to verify candidates. And what we want to look at today is your profile and how do you optimize it, the number of things that are shown there. How do recruiters actually do searches? Because I think it's important for you to know what recruiters actually do when they search for candidates, and how do you search for jobs, and how how you apply that, some things, some tips and techniques that you can use. And then for networking purposes, how do you want to get your resume into the hands of people, and then some homework items for you. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. Again, LinkedIn, this slide is out of date already. As Jeff showed last week, I think there are over 800 million users worldwide on LinkedIn today. So it's the most important tool in the recruiter's toolbox, or in his quiver of arrows, if you will. And that's one of the reasons that we want to do it. It originally started out as a networking tool for marketing and sales professionals to build contacts and things of that nature. And recruiters quickly latched onto it and have adopted it now as the #1 tool. Some of which, in fact, LinkedIn was acquired by Microsoft. They sell software licenses for LinkedIn, a recruiter package and a recruiter light package. The recruiter package, I think, is $10,000 a year. The recruiter light is $6,000 a year. Kurt Vandemotter has the recruiter package. I think he gets 2 seats on that, spends about $19,000 a year for his access to LinkedIn. So he can really search that 800 million users worldwide. Okay, so we want to take a look at your profile, what it consists of, your headline, which is you want to ask yourself, if you have a headline, if this is the only thing something sees about you, does it tell anything about you? Okay, your dashboard, which is now called the analytics section, your about section, which is basically the summary section, as it will, that you're open to work. What is that? If you're not familiar with it, it's something that you want to definitely consider if you're looking for a job. Your experience section, your experience, your skills and endorsements, and how do you optimize your profile. So that's kind of what we're going to try and cover today, and something like that. It all starts out with your profile. And here's my profile. I've updated it. We'll take a look at an updated version in just a minute, but you can notice a number of things like that. I'm open to work. In this particular one, this one is on, I've gone to my profile and looked at me, and that's why the little blue pencil is here so that you can edit things like that. And that's what you're trying to do, is to click on that. What you're hoping that you're going to do is people will click to see all the details. But again, you have in your headline, you have about 220 characters that you get to play with. Again, I've used a pipe character here, which is the character above the enter key on your keyboard. It's a shift key. And if you use that, you want to only use a blank space on either side of that. So those words like consultant and career are searchable terms. But that's what it's all about. I've also got a banner photo there. Jeff has a different one, and that's more attractive. You can use banners. I think it's canva.com. Will help you to create a banner photo for there that you can do. Jeff has an outstanding one that's there. If somebody's looking for a job, it allows you to put your contact information there as well. The other thing I'll tell you about that in terms of that is you need to have your contact information. You need to complete your profile. What does it contain to get an all-star rating? Well, what you want to do is an all-star rating when you're at the top of every category. When a search is conducted, that adds up, and you tend to gravitate toward the top of a list of a recruiter's profile when he does a search. The things that you want to have is a complete all-star status. You want to have a professional headshot. Most people today have cleaned up their headshots, so they're pretty good looking. I remember early on there were photos with people with looked like they had their hands on the Van de Graaff generator. And if you ever did that when you were at the science place out at Fair Park, you know, when you put your hands on the ball, your hair would stand up with electrostatic. And the banner photo is something that you also want to consider, as I mentioned. The headline is the job title of the position that you're applying for. If you don't use the headline at all and you haven't created one, it's going to default to the title of the last position you had in your employment section. That you're open to work is something that they've added. I think that's been there about 9 months now, almost a year. Again, if you open that up, it allows you to add additional 5 different job titles, some other information about where you want to work and how you want to work, whether you want to work part-time or full-time, whether to work remote or whether to work on site, or a combination of both. But that's something valuable that you have. If you're actively looking for a job, is definitely something you want to consider. It does add that green banner from about 5 o'clock around to 9 o'clock. Some people don't like that, but again, it does notify people that you're actively looking. And if you are looking for a job, that's another way to tell them about it. The about section is your summary. You've got about 2,000 characters that you get to play with there. A lot of the summaries that I've read, and then we'll try and take a look at a couple of people's summaries today. Typically just 1 or 2 paragraphs, but you've got a lot of information that you can share there about you. And it's all searchable information that the computer may do behind your back. Your contact information is vitally important. I looked at a couple of people's resume before I went on today. People that are here on the program, I don't have any way of contacting you because your contact information is not in your profile and we're not first-degree connections. So again, the thing that I suggest strongly is to have the first line of your about section be your email and your phone number. Make it easy for that recruiter, hiring manager to call you. The less number of clicks they have to do, the more likely that you're going to be called. Your experience section should have your job title. If you have one of those unusual job titles, like member of technical staff 3, explain what the title is and generally used in industry outside, and put that title in parentheses. You want a description of your duties and some of the results. The description should not be a lengthy one. Usually 3 or 4 lines is the max, and then some bulleted highlights of what you want to do. And use the keywords from your profession. As a recruiter, other words for recruiter today are talent associate, or talent specialist, some of those words like that. The skills from your profession and your endorsements, we're going to take a look at that. Education, awards, certifications, and development. A lot of resumes and a lot of profiles simply talk about education that somebody had, and that may be 15 or 20 years ago. Again, you want to include the awards that you may have received, any certifications along the way, and any professional courses like the one that we're taking today. How do you use LinkedIn? And recommendations for your coworkers. This is like a letter of reference. And if it's there on your profile, it makes it easy for the recruiter to check you out. Not that they won't do more due diligence and check further, but it makes it easy to get an impression confirmed about you. And all, as I said, starts out with your profile. One of the things that you want to do is you have a LinkedIn profile. If you clicked on edit your public profile up here, it's going to bring up a screen like this and it'll have your name. And typically, if you haven't edited this, you'll have 8 to 10 characters after your name. Well, you want to take those characters out. And if you have an unusual name like mine, like Locke Alderson, there's only one other Locke Alderson. That happens to be my son who goes by John Locke Alderson. So it's a little bit different, but you can add characters like MBA or CPA or Dallas, Texas, or something that designates who you are. And that's searchable term on LinkedIn. It's also searchable on Google. And that's how you do it. If your name is like John Smith, you may have to add something else because if you try John Smith, you may get the red X over here. But if you have John Smith, CPA, North Texas, again, that identifies who you are. It's a piece of advertising for you. So that's your basic profile that you have. Again, the privacy settings that you want to take a look at. You want to see who can download or look at your email address. Again, you want to leave that open if you're in a job hunting mode. Who can see your connections? You may want to turn that one off. You don't want to alert recruiters that there are other people like you that they can contact, and that appears on the right-hand side of the screen when your profile comes up. So that's one that you may want to turn off on your job hunting profile, job hunting mode. Okay, you also want to move the sliders in the privacy settings area, edit visibility, and you want to do that as well. You can move all those sliders over as well so that people can see about your profile, what you do and what you have. Again, taking a look at the profile here, I've highlighted the open to work with that banner that's from about 5 o'clock around to 9 o'clock. It gives you that there's something to say. Here are the 5 titles that I've used in my, you could do that to see all the details as well. So that gives you a quick look at my profile, a little bit updated. I've got another one updated a little bit later. But let's take a look at some headlines now. Unemployed and retired, nothing wrong with those. They're pretty truthful if you are that. But again, it's not the most positive way to present yourself. So I wouldn't include those in your headline. Seeking new opportunity is truthful, but again, says people that you're out of work, and there's slight negative connotations from that, even though they may be truthful and no fault of your own. Formerly VP of Finance has that formally in front of it. Just VP of Finance is sufficient. And again, remember you have 220 characters. I've condensed a lot of these to get them onto the screen and onto one slide. An experienced digital design engineer seeking new opportunity, you can see amplifies the seeking new opportunity. Social media strategist. This one incorporates that pipe character that I mentioned. But that I mentioned, it does use some acronyms here. PR is a generally recognized term for public relations. supply chain, procurement, purchasing, pretty succinct description of somebody and what they do. They might have added logistics and some other things like that. But again, that would give some information to a recruiter or hiring manager in general about your background, that hook that we all have to identify people and what they do. Senior accountant, again, general ledger is one of those acronyms that you can use. And in many cases, I'd spell that out. If somebody's an executive assistant, if I were doing a search for an executive assistant, when I did that, helping in career consulting with Lee Heck Harrison, again, there are about 35,000 executive assistants in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So if you're looking for a job, how do you differentiate yourself from any of the other people who are there? By adding additional verbiage that's there as you see. IT project manager, again, another succinct one, but ITIL is a certification, Scrum Master, and Agile are all hot buzzwords today if somebody has that, tempting a recruiter to look further at your profile. General manager at manufacturing, aerospace, again, pretty descriptive. It's a narrower field toward the top of a pyramid of job titles out there. You can also do a headline generator. This is something that Ruth Lipsky shares in her presentation. Again, by starting with an adjective, you can notice a number of those, and there's several different titles that you can use and what brings value, and you can use examples. Here's me, that's my original one. You can take a look at that headline, not too descriptive. Here's a revision to it. Notice I've used some adjectives at the bottom of that. I think that clarifies a little bit my background and tells a little bit more about me and what I've done. Some other descriptive headlines using those adverbs and adjectives that I mentioned, you can see what's there. You can also describe things that people have done. Again, if you'd like a copy of the deck, the slides, just send me an email at lockealderson.com and I'll be happy to send you a whole copy of the slides. Okay. The next area I want to take a look at is your dashboard. It's now called Analytics section, I believe. But again, it has a number of sections that are there. Who's looked at your profile in the last week? How many post views? I know mine was up because I announced that I was speaking today and yesterday. And I think I had about 250 people take a look at my posting views and the number of search appearances. Since I'm not actively looking, there's a difference that you see there. And the other thing we want to take a look at, by clicking on this search appearances, which is the next thing, before I get to that, there's a features selection where you can include presentations like the ones that I have here. Again, I need to update this because this was last fall's presentations, and I've done some presentations since then. But if you click on the search appearances, which is the next thing, these are the keywords that the searchers used in their search, okay? Now, whether they were looking for me as a recruiter or looking for a recruiter to help them find a job, I don't know. But mine is a little bit unusual in that respect, but you can notice the titles. It will also show up the companies where those people, the searchers worked. They may be companies that have openings for your kind of background. So then you might want to add some of those to your target companies. Okay, let's take a look at the About section, the summary. This is a little bit longer one than I normally recommend, but it's a very succinct one. It's combined use of regular tile with bold. Again, it mentions senior finance operations leader with 20 years of business experience. It mentions financial planning and analysis. They've used an acronym here, or they've spelled out the acronym here as FP&A is a normally searchable term that's available to recruiters, and then many recruiters know about that. But this is a particularly good one that's available. These are some other ones. You can also use first person in your summary in the About section, and as these have done. Have you noticed this one on particularly one person that worked at Disney World? And these are some of the title, the competencies they've had and how they've done, and what some of the other experiences that they've had. Okay. Again, I like these tell a little bit more about it. As we move on and take a look at the experience section, this happens to highlight my experiences at Oracle Corporation. If a company is a well-known one, sometimes their icon will actually appear, and LinkedIn draws those into your profile. Again, but I recommend on the title, your company title, name and address, dates, your duties and responsibilities, try and limit them to 3 to 5 lines. And here you noticed I've used 4 lines to describe my experience and as a senior recruiter at Oracle, the kinds of things I was looking for. It also has a couple of bulleted highlights. some responsibilities, some of the accomplishments that I had as a recruiter. And then I happened to include this. This was an email that Amanda Gill sent when I left Oracle, retired. So I thought I'd include that as well. But that's something else that you can include that shows who you are and what you've done, what you've accomplished. LinkedIn has added a couple other things to your profile that you can do. These are the core sections that you have now, but they can add a recommended section that you can have about articles. You can post your resume or your portfolio in the about section. Well, not the about, yeah. I'm getting things confused, but in that section that you're available to, your license and certifications, but you can also add now your volunteer experience, your projects that you may have worked on, and importantly, that you want to have, if you're currently looking for a job, you want to have a current position. And that position may look something like this when you click on that blue pencil to add a position. Again, in this case, I just suggested what the individual's title, what are they looking for? That's the title they're looking for. They're looking for a full-time position. They've also listed, again, when you start to type in the artificial intelligence that they have, start to pick up and drop down menu for Dallas. Again, you have to be careful about that because there's also a Dallas, Georgia and a Dallas, Oregon are available. But you can include that. You can also include in this area, you can include he's included in this case, that he's looking for something in financial service. You could put your name, your email address and phone number in there as well to make it easy to contact. The more times they see it, the more likely it's to stick with them, the more likely they'll follow through and call you. This happens to have a career break. If you've taken that career break to care for a loved one that may be ill, or that you've taken a break, housewives take a break when they have kids sometimes. And some of those are some of the things that kind of work. And you can describe a little bit about what you were doing. Another thing is you can add a project. Describe the projects in some detail. For those of you that are project managers or program managers, adding some of the details can be very valuable about what's included there. Skills and endorsements is the next one. This slide, I think, is kind of out of date now. I think they've switched that up a little bit. But as you add skills, there's a plus sign now on that you can add. LinkedIn will choose 3 skills for you, and they've rearranged that. Jeff and I were talking before the presentation today, how they've rearranged it and made it a lot more difficult to drag. But I think you can just hold your cursor down on a section and move it up and down in the list. But it will display 3 skills that you have, and they will look like something like this. In this particular case, again, this is the old format that they have, but you can add a new skill up here, as I said. And that's one of the ways that you can do it. This one shows all of the endorsements that I've had in my particular background. This is the newer version of what they have like that. Again, the executive search, etc., the endorsements. And this one mentions, no, it doesn't mention, I didn't put in the new slide that I created this morning. Okay, let's move on and take a look at other people. And why would you want to take a look at other people's profiles? Well, if you are not getting results from what you have on your LinkedIn profile today, one of the ways that you want to do that is find out who the competition is. In this case, I did recruiter in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And as you notice here, when I did that search, there were about 26,000, a little over 26,000 people who had recruiter in their profile. And if you're not showing up in the first 10 screens, that's 100 profiles, 100 thumbnail sketches. You might want to go in and take a look at some of these people that are on here. I used to appear in the first 2 screens, but because I'm not an active recruiter and using LinkedIn every day, I've dropped down. I think I'm down in the second tier of candidates that have recruiter in their profile. But go, pop those open, take a look at their profile. What are some of the words that they're using? And if those words apply to you and aren't in your profile, try incorporating them. See if it doesn't increase your rating when you do a search for recruiter in the Dallas-Fort Worth area under people. Again, you can do that when you've done a jobs, and you do that, it'll show up jobs over here. This is part of the drop-down menu. If you click on that, jobs is one of them, groups is another one. I only mention groups because you can join groups. You can have up to 50 groups. And some of those groups will have job postings that don't appear on LinkedIn. Recruiters have to pay to post on LinkedIn, but they don't have to pay to post a job in a group. So there are jobs that are available in that. I know when I was doing recruiting or career placement with Lehigh Harrison, Mullen International, we had candidates in South Carolina, and they were looking for jobs, and I joined a group up in Charlotte, North Carolina, because people were willing to drive up there or to commute up there, in some cases to relocate up there, to find positions. Moving on, I want to take a look at how do LinkedIn search for jobs? How do you do that? How does LinkedIn run a search? What do recruiters search for? And some of the results that they have and how you create job alerts. So that's the next section we want to take a look at. LinkedIn gives you a score for every section of your profile, and that score is calculated every day. New score is available, and if you score high, when a search is performed for candidates like a recruiter, they have the more high scores that they have, the higher they're going to appear on the results from the search that's done. The first thing that they tend to take a look at is keywords. The next one is skills. Again, what are your skills? The third one is the job title, the exact match on job titles. The job title in your current job, your previous jobs, in your headline, and in other sections of your resume. What are some of the companies that you have worked for? If you have a background in healthcare or high tech companies, and we'll take a look at a resume, I mean a profile search in just a minute, where they're looking for people up in the Seattle area, and that kind of background for specific industries. That you're open to work. That means that you're open to a recruiter approaching you. I know when I first started in the recruiting business at my own firm, I was told through training that I took that if you wanted to make 25 placements a year, you had to make about 5,000 phone calls a year, because 4,000 of those you get no, I'm not interested, or hang up on you. So if you're making it easy for a recruiter to approach you, again, they're more likely to contact you. Geographic location. Again, applicants have taught recruiters they only want to work 20 to 25 miles away from their job. Some jobs, though, are nationwide. You can work remote now. Some jobs involve a lot of travel. I know when I was working with Oracle, a lot of those positions were travel positions. They go out Sunday night or Monday morning, back Thursday night, Friday morning. And so we were looking for travel road warriors, if you will. But a lot of times people only want to work close to where they live, and particularly today with gas prices ever increasing. I know when I was doing outplacement work at Lee Heck Harrison, had a candidate who only wanted to work 5 miles from where she lived in Frisco. She eventually found a job without a great deal of difficulty. All-star status we've mentioned, the connections as well, and comments. If you're active on LinkedIn, making comments on other people's posting or posting something or writing a blog, things that gain you activity. For each of those areas has a score that's valued to you and rated to you. Again, what do recruiters take a look at? Slightly different perspective. They're looking for keywords. The next thing that they tend to look at, I would say even the first thing, is your current job title. They're looking for a match on the job title. And that could be your past, your present job, the job that you're looking for in the future. In your headline, your open to work section, the about section, or the employment section. Then skills, then specific industry, your education, and your prior companies. That's your pedigree, where you've done. But once they've narrowed that down, they'll take a look at your profile. This is an actual data entry screen from the LinkedIn Recruiter package. And you notice at the time that this was done, there are about 700 million people on LinkedIn. It's up over 800 million today. These are the different things that they can search for. Again, recruiters will take a look at that. Again, they're looking for that low-hanging fruit that I mentioned, open to new opportunities. Okay, this number in recent searches is much greater. Again, as searches are done, but for this particular search, there are 243 candidates in the spotlight. 50 are more likely to respond because of their activity and interest in the company, open to new opportunities, and engaged in your company or following your company. If you're following the company, that again adds value to your score when a search is done. Let's take a look. This one is one for accountants nationwide. Again, the default setting, if you don't do that, is the United States on jobs. Again, I wouldn't run a search as a recruiter like this because it's too big. There's too many candidates. 4,281,000 is just too many people to look at. So I would have used some either additional titles in the word. I could give it a location, okay? Or I look for different skill sets. They have not done anything. They've just simply used the word accountant. So let's take another more specific search. Take a look at another more specific search. This is one for a product manager up in the Seattle area. They would also consider somebody from the San Francisco Bay Area. Again, they're looking for somebody with a background in product marketing or product management. And again, the companies that they're looking for, because these companies are headquartered in Seattle, Microsoft and Amazon and Fluke, or companies that they might be consider. Well, Costco is another company that's up in that part of the country. And again, schools that they would look at, University of Washington would be one that they would want to consider. In this particular search, they had about 69, almost 7,000 candidates. Some had a company connection of some way that they followed Microsoft or they followed Amazon. Fluke is a company that manufactures electronics. Okay. The next one we want to take a look at, this one is a little bit larger search results, about 43,000 for a project manager in Chicago. Project managers in Dallas, what I've done searches here, there's about 35,000 people with project manager in their profile. Again, willing to consider somebody from high-tech areas like Seattle or New York. I mean, San Francisco or New York as well. And they were specifically looking for business strategy and analytics, some of the skill sets that they were looking at. Again, companies that they were looking at. Again, some of the companies like Google, Facebook, Evermote, LinkedIn, and they were looking because it's the Chicago area. Northwestern is a school just north of Chicago. But again, this 83 up here in the spotlight, those are probably the companies that were sorted here by relevance, okay, because they said open opportunities was one of the criteria that apparently the recruiter had used there. So you're searching for a job. What do you take a look at for now? Well, again, when you do a search on jobs right here, there's two search boxes that are open, one that allows you to put in a title of the job and one that puts the location. If you don't type in a location or haven't already identified a location, it will default to the United States. Well, let's take a look at a job here in the local area. This particular one was for a senior accountant in Plano, okay? Notice the default setting is 25 miles. Again, that can now be adjusted down. I think it's to 10. They used to have 15, but they've again adjusted it because people don't want to drive quite as much. This particular job here, this one Omnicell, is highlighted over here. And as you move down this list, these jobs will show up. They'll highlight the particular job that they're talking about, okay, in Plano, Texas. Okay. Using some of the filters, if I go back for a minute, take a look, there's filters over here. By clicking on the filters, we could narrow down this 144 candidates on this job pretty quickly. And some of the ways that you can do that, let's say that you're looking now on these, the filter screen, it only takes up the right half of the screen now when you do that on filters. This is an older version of that filter screen. Okay, when he did that, they've had one of the things I do suggest when you're searching for jobs, whether it's on LinkedIn or on any of the other job boards, is to narrow your search down to the last 3 days, 7 days, because the average response time to a posting on the internet is about 2 minutes. And there can be as many as 200 or 300 in the first hour. Okay, in the past week, this is the number of jobs that were posted. In this case, for a recruiter, there were 634 jobs listed in Dallas. Another thing that LinkedIn has picked up, I think they picked this up from Indeed.com, was the salary parameters. Now, while this is not necessarily the most accurate salary survey, again, it will help you to narrow down some of the positions. Not all of the positions posted on LinkedIn have salary attached to them. The easy apply feature here is something that you may want to consider if it allows you to upload your resume as opposed to simply capturing your profile and submitting your profile. Because if you are easy apply, you want to be able to tailor your resume a little bit. It's attached to your profile, or tailor your profile, or include a resume that actually is tailored to the job that you're applying for. You can also narrow the search by company, by industry, again, location, or the type of job it is. Most jobs are going to be permanent full-time, although another category that they've added down is a hybrid position or remote, okay? And it's not included in this particular list. But those are some of the ways that you can narrow a search down. If you find that you've done too much and the search is too narrow, you can clear the search back to your original search for a recruiter in Dallas, Texas. You can also create job alerts. When you've done that, you notice over here, there's a radio button that you can shift from left to right. If you flip this to the right, it gives you the option to choose whether you want the results daily or weekly. Again, if you're in job search mode, I would choose daily. You can go through the thumbnail sketches probably first thing in the morning. That's usually when they come in by 8 o'clock. And you could do that probably 5 to 10 minutes, unless you've got a lot of search engines that you created. Again, when that happens, this is what it looks like when they've done that for a recruiter in the Dallas area, in Plano. Okay. Let's take a look at networking. Why would you want to do network? Well, one of the reasons that you want to search for people is you want to get your resume in the hands of people. So there's a number of ways that you can do that in looking for people. You notice all of them that are there. The first one that you can do is to put your name in just a general search box. Somebody did one on me, looked my name up. Again, because I have an unusual name, and I did show up in a search like that. If you're John Jones or Jeff Jones, probably not going to show up, or will show up on the 50th or 100th screen that's there. But there are a number of different locks. There's a law firm, here's a hotel, here's an IT services company, here's another law firm down here, and here's the locker room, which used to sell tennis, I guess, sports equipment and tennis shoes. But that's what's available in the search box. That's one way that you can do a search. Another way, let's say you're looking for recruiters. Again, you can enter recruiter, cybersecurity, and enter a location. Okay, and it will bring up numbers. So if I were looking for recruiters in cybersecurity, there's about 5,700 that are cybersecurity have that on their profile. So that's a way to reach out to them. If you were looking for recruiters in engineering at Google, again, people that are past or present recruiters at Google might show up that way. And you can do that. When you take a look at them, you can pop open their profile, take a look at their summary, and review the message. And that's a way to, you can target your profile and your resume to getting in the hands of the right recruiter. Okay, another way that you can find people once you've identified a job up here with job. Okay, there's a tab over here that says jobs, and in that, if you click that down arrow, you can go to the people tab that way and search for people that way. Recruiter in the Dallas, Texas area. Okay, so that's one way that you can do that. Okay, that you can follow that. Another way that you can do that, you can tap your network and go into your network, your connections. In this case, somebody else's, it's not mine, and search them. You can use a filter to search them. You're looking for, in this case, we're looking for somebody at Lennox Industries here in Richardson. Okay, you can search by company. This one was Meta Analytics, which is a company here in Richardson on Bush, just across the road from Plano, where I live. Again, by doing a company search on Meta Analytics, and I was looking for people. You can do a people search for that. They have about 510 employees with the company. The next screen, if you clicked on people, again, there are 129 of them here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And I looked for one, I was looking for a recruiter. And Brianna Sham was the recruiter there. Gives you a name of somebody that you can connect. You can also do a job search. Again, create a job alert for Meta Electronics for any jobs that they may have or keywords that you have there. And again, if that's one of your target companies, you may want to put that down and they will send you a profile. Anytime they have a new listing, we'll send you a contact information about that. Wrapping up, you have some time to look at people's profile. Again, complete each section of your profile. It's worth taking the time, making the investment, and refining it. It may take a while to do that, and you may refine it over months, as long as you have something up. You want to use the name that you're called by. My legal name is John Locke Alderson Jr. I happen to go by my middle name. So when recruiters, or not recruiters, but telemarketers come, I sometimes play with them when they ask for John Alderson. And I ask, which one do you want? You know, senior, junior, or the third? And so I can play around with them and have some fun with them. So use the name that you want to be called by. Make it easy for them to reach out to you and to make that connection. Headline be the job title or titles. You can put up to several in there. You have 210 characters to play with of the job that you're looking for. Because as I said, if you don't include a headline, it's going to default to the title of your last job in the employment section. Do use the open to work section below your headline. It allows you to list 5 additional job titles and know that you're open to opportunities. If you're still time working and in transit, or you don't want to reveal that, you may want to just use that and open it up to just recruiters, not to the world of LinkedIn. Do include your phone number and your email on the first line of your summary. It can also be further down in your summary. It can be in your banner, as Jeff will probably show us a little bit later. Experience section, Use the job titles that are readily identifiable in industry. What do you look for when you go out to look for a job? Use those kind of titles and have measurable results. Those measurable results add credibility to your experience. Keywords from your profession. If you don't know what they are, take a look at some of the job listings that are out there, the skills that they're looking for. Those are the kind of things that you want to have in your profile. And do a people search on yourself in your geographic area. And if you don't show up on those first 10 screens, take a look at some of those other people and use some of the verbiage that they're using to describe themselves in your experience. Again, my name is Locke Alderson. And there's my background as well. Okay, Jeff, I'm going to try and go to.
Well, while you're switching, we do have a question. Jeff asked, how long should you leave the open to work circle on your photo? Is it seen as a negative if it's been on your photo for a long time?
You could take it on and put it on and take it off. Try it, take it off for a week, then put it back on. The people used to have negative feelings about it. In today's economy, with what's happened with COVID, I don't think that's quite as important anymore. And not given as much negative as it used to be. Okay, Brian's on the call. Now, this is one Brian Crawford. I don't know whether that's the Brian Crawford that's on the call today or not. But again, we could take a look at people. This happens to be my profile. We'll take a quick look at that.
Yeah, that's me, Locke. I'm on the call. I'm on the call.
Well, I will violate Jeff's rule. I'm just going to say connect. Okay, well, I did have a chance to. Okay, but again, that's my profile. There's my background photo, as you see. I'm open to, but I have not turned that on. Okay, but you can, if I were to do that. You can add a profile section. There's something that I mentioned earlier. This is the analytics that I mentioned to you. People who viewed your profile, people have search appearances that I've had. And this post impressions, that's because I posted information about this presentation today. That's why it goes out to my network of over 6,000 people. Some of those 6,000 have actually taken a look at that. Okay. The about section, I have my contact information. I didn't put my phone number because I'm not interested in getting phone calls, but it's available. And you can look at my about section. What you're trying to do with the about section is to get a recruiter to go click and see more. These are the different ways that you can do that. And notice some of the different formats that are there. Again, this area of specialties, again, there's no punctuation down there and repeated words. And that's to generate activity for something like career. You know, so many times it's there. Recruiter is a number of times as well. And that increases by rating. The reason that I say that, I know when I did a search, I was looking for a candidate in Minneapolis, Minnesota. When I moved from Siebel over to Oracle, we were looking for a Siebel consultant. And I put Siebel consultant in the posting, got 75 responses. 50 of them did not even have the word Siebel in their resume. They were eliminated immediately. Then I would take a look and see, one time Siebel, are they a Siebel user, meaning that they'd used the software, or 10 times might mean that they had actually installed the software, which is what I was looking for. The featured section, I mentioned that. I have updated that since the slide that was there. The activity section, and then my different jobs. And I do have multiple jobs there that you notice at the same time. 2011 to the present, with a group that I'm working with as a co-moderator. My own business, which I have never really shut down, is the recruiting firm. I'm also career transition workshop. I think we closed that down. If Rex will, I think the last one we had was last June, last May and June last year. I was with Lee Heck Harrison. And again, sometimes it will pick up the companies. If you want to look at the rest of the experience, I don't know why it's being so slow today. There's that Oracle. And Oracle merged the experience that I had with Siebel. If you notice, that's what this line is, merging those two experiences together. The Raytheon did not pick up the E-Systems experience. I was with E-Systems before it became Raytheon. Okay. So those are just some of the experience section. If I click out of the experience section.
Mark, we've got a couple more questions. Can I pop them to you?
Go ahead, Jeff.
Okay, Rex says, is the LinkedIn premium account that provides InMail messages worth it?
I didn't find it worthwhile, but my network is about 6,000 people, so I don't need that. And that's first degree connections, and I can reach out to second and third degree connections. I've probably got over 15 million in my network of third degree of separation. If you haven't and you want to try it for 20, 27, 28 days and then cancel if you don't like it. If you don't, because you've signed up, it will automatically bill you for the next month. I think it's up to about $33 a month that you can do that.
So two tricks about that. Number one, if you see somebody you're interested in connecting with and you want to reach out to, see what groups that person belongs to, join their group, and then within a couple days, you should be able to directly message that person through the group. So that's one way.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, Jeff. You can join groups. As I say, Dallas Blue used to be a group that had about 40,000 members here in the Dallas area. I discontinued that group because I was getting flooded with emails from that group.
Right. I mean, if you join the Career DFW LinkedIn group, we have 13,000, almost 800 members. So there's a great way to expand your connections and connect with people. I know I wanted to connect with somebody and I saw they joined the group, but I wasn't a first connection with the person, but because they joined the group, I was able to then send a connection or, talk to the person that way. So that worked out really, really well. David asked a question. If I'm going to announce that I'm open to work and do not want to use the open to work banner, then where is the best place in LinkedIn profile to announce open to work or the hashtag ONO? Should I type it out, open to work, when placing it inside the LinkedIn profile?
Yes. The way that when you have the choice, when you have open to work, it's open to the world of LinkedIn, open just to recruiters. So you can limit your visibility to just recruiters that have signed up for the LinkedIn packages, software licenses.
So, I mean, my suggestion is, and my recommendation is, you want to put the green open to work banner on there because you want everybody to know you're open to work. Less than 50% of recruiters pay LinkedIn for the recruiting package. I know there's a firm here in Dallas, they have 39 recruiters working for them. None of them pay for the LinkedIn package. They're just using their LinkedIn connections. So, and if you have acquaintances or other people who you've reached out to and they go, oh, I didn't know you were looking for work right now. You're open for work. Oh, let's have a conversation. So don't listen, this isn't like 15, 20 years ago when if you were unemployed, people didn't want to, they were like, oh, stay away from me, you're unemployed. Everybody's been unemployed nowadays. They all get it. They all understand the game. And if you're unemployed, let people know that you're open to work.
Yeah, that's what I would suggest. I mean, one thing I wanted to add about the skills section, they just revised this in the last 30 days. I don't know when they did it. By clicking on the blue pencil or the pencil that's right here, okay, it's blue on some people's screens, okay, it will allow you to change that. One of the changes that it do will allow you to clip open that blue pencil for each of these areas now, and it will allow you to show where you had talent acquisition experience. This is for me at Alderson and Associates, my own recruiting firm, when I was a Plano practice interview team, talent acquisition. So it will allow you to show which of the groups that you've been affiliated with where you got that experience. Okay, so that's something else. Do we have time, Jeff, I think, to do a couple of searches on people if they would want to search somebody's profile or search?
Yeah, let's do that for somebody. If you'd like us to look at your profile, why don't you put your name in the
Hey,
chat?
Jeff.
Oh,
I'd like to have my profile looked at. Jeff.
okay.
Salone.
His
Sure.
name is Jeff.
Jeff?
Yep.
Yes.
Jeff, and the last name Serrano, Serrano.
That one right there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, let's take a look at Jeff. One of the things I'm going to click, I'm not going to follow, but I am going to look at his full profile. He has follow as opposed to connect.
Okay, so I've noticed that people have started to do that. You're probably doing that by mistake because you want the connect button to show up there. For people who try to connect with you, you have to click on the more button and then go to connect. But there's a way for you to undo the follow thing. It's
How do
easy
you-
to set up.
One
Okay.
of the things I wanted to talk about connecting, again, I'm going to look at your contact information real quick, like this is what's available for me to look at to reach out to you. You've
Okay,
got your email address, which is better than most people do. You've opened that up, okay?
all right,
Better suggestion that I would have for you is in your about section, the first couple of lines. Let's see if it's in that. You've used first person, which is okay. Again, I would have on the let's connect my phone number, my email address, make it easy for them to reach out to you. Okay.
okay,
Jeff will show, and when we're done, he'll show you his banner shot, which has that available as well. Okay. The other thing I can suggest is vary the text a little bit. Take a look at my profile and look at what I've done in my about section. I've used bullets. I've used dashes. Again, you're good that you've used sentences or paragraphs that are about 3 to 4 lines. Here's your contact information. It's buried in the bottom of a sentence. Again, it can be on a separate line. I suggest that, or putting it at the top, but definitely put it up at the top of the information.
got it.
Click through and find that, and then actually look down and search through your contact information, your about section, to be able to find that.
Okay, got it.
And so it's interesting that you have your phone number listed there, but you don't have your phone number listed in your contact information.
Yeah.
So make sure it's in both places.
Okay, okay,
The other thing
And for
that I'll
those
tell you here, other thing that I'll tell you here, Jeff, is you don't have a current position. And
correct.
that's one of the factors that's added into search criteria. When searches are done, having a listing for a current position is one of the higher ranking sections. We don't know what that is, but again, that's what's available. So have a higher.
So if you're in transition and you don't have one?
What is the job title that you're looking for? Okay.
Well, I'm actually looking
Director
for
of
more,
Corporate Relations. That would be the title of the job that you have in there. When you go in and take a look at the slide that I had in the deck, if you want it, I'll be happy to send it to you. Again, there's a title in there that you can put, and that you can, Jeff suggests putting in your name, your email address and your phone number there, or you can put the type of industry that you might be looking for, nonprofit or academic. You've got a background with Heart Association, with UTA, and with Cancer Society. So I would say nonprofit and
Yeah.
academic institutions might be where you're looking.
where would I put that? But with the experience, so how do I address the not currently employed
So
situation?
what you want to do is so whatever job titles you are looking for, you create a brand new job. You put the job title as 1 or 2 job titles you'd be interested in.
Right.
Then for the name of the company, put your
Or
email
industry.
address and your phone number for the company name. Then underneath where the description is, that's where you list, open to work or open to new opportunities, and list 2 or 3 bullet points that tells people why I should hire you. What are 2 or 3 results that you have that would tell me, oh, I need somebody who can do exactly what you did.
But Jeff, I'll interrupt you for a second. What I suggest that you also include that your primary experience is in nonprofit and is in academia. And that's where your skills are probably going to be most valuable, looking at your profile.
Okay. Thank
Dallas
you.
Museum of Art, UT at University of North Texas. Those are the things that people are going to, look at. So companies like the Food Bank of Dallas, North Texas Food Bank, Tarrant County Food Bank, or a couple of different organizations. The Cancer Society, Coleman Society, are all organizations that might be looking at. So you want to include that nonprofit because that's important. Not everybody has nonprofit experience. It's kind of like healthcare. If you don't have it, you don't know necessarily about fundraising, because that may be something that you've done and is very important to an organization. You wear multiple hats in nonprofits.
Right.
Looks good. Other than that, I might add some bulleted items. Or what were some of the accomplishments that you had? What was the big project that you worked on?
Okay. Got it. Yeah.
Add these and make those a bulleted item in here. Okay. Demonstrated expertise in all facets of integrated data-driven development. Okay. So development is that business development where you're developing funds, again, that's something, fundraising is something that nonprofits are very concerned about, keeping in business. Just ask WRR today.
Exactly.
Likewise
I could
here.
help them. I could help
Likewise
them.
here. And each of these, okay, looking for, this looks good, okay? These are the kind of bullet, you've used asterisks, which is what I do, but you can use and create with bullets and cut and paste those in. But these are, some of these type of accomplishments are the kinds of things that you want to talk about.
But Jeff, do me a favor, and like that first one there, focus on recruiting, oops, I can't see, focus on recruiting new corporate sponsors. How many corporate sponsors? Give me some
Oh.
results. You've sort of given me a job description. You haven't given me any results. Results sell.
And you can do some of that, Jeff, you could do some of that up here in your profile.
Okay. Got it.
For some reason, my computer is hanging up. There we go.
There we go. Yep.
But here in this sec. Okay, I'm gonna view. We'll try the clicks. We have somebody else online while we're waiting. Took me
There we go.
too far back. Let's see if somebody else wants us to take a quick
Well,
look.
Locke, we're just about out of time, and I've got to actually have a 3 o'clock appointment I've got to run to. So let's just stop here if we can. David, we'll look at your profile if you'd like to next week. I do just briefly, I'll just show you, Locke mentioned mine a couple times. You'll see here in my banner, I've actually added my phone number and email address up there so that even if you're a third-degree connection, you'd be able to find me. You'd be able to reach out to me. So this is something I did through canva.com. The word cloud I had to get as a I got it from a third-party source. So, you know, all that kind of stuff you can sort of do separately. So just be aware that's just something different that you can do. I just want to sort of.
Slides are available, lockealderson@gmail.com. I'll send them to you.
Yeah, so
Thank you
here's the
so much.
slide. If you'd like to get a slide deck, lockealderson@gmail.com. Just send him an email and he will send you your slide deck. All right, next week, our speaker is Terry Sullivan. He'll talk about how to tell your key contacts and prospects who you are, what you do, and how you can help. The session next week will not be recorded, so if you want to see the event, you do need to watch it live. All right, I need everybody to please raise your right hand and repeat after me. Those include those people that are on Facebook right now. I, Jeff Morris, promise to always send a personal note whenever I send a LinkedIn request to connect with anyone. This includes when I use my cell phone or my computer. Very, very, very important to always send a personal note whenever you send a LinkedIn request. I get LinkedIn requests on a daily basis. If you don't tell me why we should connect, I just ignore the connection request. So just please know that. So whenever you see that white connect button, don't ever press on it. You want to look for the blue connect button because the blue connect button will allow you to send that personal note. Career FW, Career USA, we're putting on training 4 days a week. Please join us tomorrow on Interviewing Wednesdays. We have an actual practice interview. I believe the interviewee is interviewing for a job at Amazon. So if you'd like to see Amazon Web Service interview, please join us tomorrow at 1 o'clock. It will only be on Zoom. It will not be on Facebook, and it will not be recorded. This Thursday, the second Thursday of the month, we will talk about networking. Charlie Zinger will be with us to talk about networking tips and techniques. And then this Friday at the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group meeting, Dr. Glenn Earl will be with us to talk about the Job Search Scorecard. This is a fascinating little thing he came up with. How do you keep track? How do you know if you've really been effective today? How do you know if you've really done what you need to do to find a job? He came up with this scorecard, a really easy way to go, oh, I just sent off a ATS, I just filled out an ATS application. Oh, I just had a networking phone call. Oh, I just sent a thank you note. And how do you score that and keep track of what you do? So if you'd like to sort of see the scorecard, join us this Friday. It's a really interesting presentation. You're welcome to join the Career FW and Career USA LinkedIn groups. We have over 13,700. We're really close to 13,800 members in that group. You do not need to live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area to join that group. I started both of them when we started each of the different websites. The session will be recorded. It will be on the Career DFW Facebook page and the Career USA YouTube channel. It may not be up on the Career USA YouTube channel till tomorrow. I've got a very busy afternoon and evening, so I may not have an opportunity to get it uploaded today, but it will get up there in the next 24 hours. On the Career USA YouTube channel, click on playlist. Otherwise, you'll see 320 videos that are posted there. And then down below where you see the red arrow, pick whichever session, whichever playlist you'd like, resumes, interviewing, LinkedIn, and then click where it says view full playlist, and up will come a list of all the different speakers, dates, and topics so you can see what event is there. If you're not receiving emails about our workshops, please join the Career USA mailing list. Please just send an email to Career USA, the + subscribe at groups.io. Please remember, Career DFW, we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Locke is a volunteer. All of our speakers are volunteers. I'm a volunteer. Everything I've done over the last 13 years has been to help you land your next great opportunity. Please consider making a donation when you get your next job. So thank you very much for joining us today. Locke, thank you very, very much.
Thanks for having me.
And we will see everybody hopefully later in the week.
So long. Thank you. Bye-bye.